There are places in Tanzania that announce themselves immediately. The coast, the savanna, the great national parks, where beauty reveals itself slowly. Lushoto sits in the Usambara Mountains of northeastern Tanzania, part of the ancient Eastern Arc Range, a chain of mountains known not only for dramatic landscapes, but also for forests, biodiversity, and a cool climate that has made these highlands feel distinct for generations. Up here, the air is lighter, the roads wind through farms and forest, and almost everywhere, the mountains are close enough to remind you where you are. The town feels small, but not insignificant. Instead, it feels rooted, a settlement that belongs to the mountains around it. That relationship between town and landscape is what makes Lushoto town itself so interesting. It is not a resort town, and it doesn't try to be one. It feels lived in, functional, human. Walking through it, I saw banks, agriculture-related businesses, shops, and local food spots. All the signs of a town that serves not only visitors, but the wider mountain communities around it. And maybe that is why Lushoto feels so genuine. Tourism exists here, but it doesn't swallow the place. Everyday life remains at the center. The town sits high in the mountains, and that alone changes the mood. The air is cooler. The pace is calmer. The streets feel connected to the surrounding farms and forest, rather than separated from them. Magamba Rainforest shows you the mountains from within. The shift is immediate. The open skies and cliff edges give way to shade, moisture, and deep green foliage. The air changes. It becomes cooler, fresher, softer. Walking into Magamba feels like stepping into another layer of the mountain, one that is older, quieter, and more enclosed. Magamba Nature Forest Reserve is one of the defining natural areas around Lushoto. Part of the western Usambara ecosystem, It protects montane forest and highland habitats that are ecologically important, not just to this district, but to the wider Eastern Arc region. The reserve is known for hiking routes, bird life, viewpoints, and historical sites, such as the German Cave and Kwehondo Peak. Inside the forest, what struck me most was the feeling of freshness. The foliage was intensely green, the air was clean, and the trees seemed to rise endlessly above the trail. Some parts of Lushoto impress you with scale, the distance of the plains, the endless mountain ranges. But Magamba impresses you with atmosphere. It's not only beautiful, it feels alive. You can hike to the peak here, or drive much of the way, depending on how you want to experience it. I chose local transport because I wanted to see as much as possible in a single day, and in a place like Lushoto, that decision matters. Distances on a map can look small, but in the mountains every road bends, every viewpoint asks you to stop, and every forest path invites you to slow down. One of the places I visited here was the German Cave, a site tied to the colonial period, when the Usambara highlands were drawn into the history of German East Africa. Lushoto itself was once known as Wilhelmstal during German rule, and the region still carries traces of that era in place names, buildings, and scattered historical sites. The cave is one of those reminders that landscapes are never only natural. They also hold memory. Nearby is Kwehondo Peak, one of the high points of the reserve, and one of the places where Lushoto reveals itself in full. From Kwehondo, I could see what felt like endless mountain ranges of the Usambaras, stretching into the distance. From up there, Lushoto town itself becomes part of the landscape, a cluster of buildings held inside a much larger world of ridges, valleys, and cultivated slopes. It's the kind of view that changes your sense of scale. In many mountain destinations, the landscape and the town can feel like two different experiences. In Lushoto, They feel inseparable. That same connection between nature and everyday life becomes even clearer once you leave town and head toward places like Sungwi Skyline. When I got there, it was cold and foggy again, a familiar pattern in June. In Lushoto, fog is not an interruption to the landscape. It is part of the landscape. It moves through the mountains like weather with personality, deciding when the views will stay hidden and when they will finally open. And when the fog lifted at Sungwi, the beauty of the place became obvious. Here, the scenery isn't only about cliffs and distant plains, it's also about the people who live within it. Villagers in this area keep livestock and depend heavily on agriculture, and you can feel that immediately in the land around you. The mountains here are not untouched wilderness. They are inhabited, cultivated, worked, and cared for. Fields cut across the slopes. Paths connect homes and farms. Livestock move through the same landscapes that visitors come to photograph. That's one of the most important things to understand about Lushoto. It is not simply a scenic backdrop. It is a mountain region where ecology and livelihood meet every day. That balance shows up again in the farms around the viewpoints, in the market life of the town. And even in places designed for visitors, like the Magamba Nature Forest campsite. The campsite stands in what was once an old timber factory, a detail that says a lot about how this region has changed over time. Spaces once tied to extraction and industry are now being reimagined through tourism, conservation, and recreation. Even the pond construction there hints at that transition. The site is still becoming, still evolving, still turning itself into something new. That, to me, is part of what makes Lushoto compelling. It isn't polished into a perfect tourism product. It still feels in progress. Forest reserves, viewpoints, farms, villages, old colonial traces, and small new developments all exist side by side. The result is a destination that feels less staged and more real. The fog moves constantly, sweeping across the cliff edge, covering the plains below, then opening again for just a few moments before closing back in. It means the view here isn't something you simply arrive and take in. You wait for it. You earn it. And that waiting is part of the experience. I stayed here for nearly an hour and a half, long enough to understand that Irente is not just about seeing the valley below, but about watching the mountain decide when to show it to you. One moment there is nothing but white cloud. The next, the fog breaks, and suddenly, the escarpment opens into a vast drop toward the plains, a dramatic meeting point between the cool mountain world of Lushoto and the warmer lowlands far beneath it. Irente is one of Lushoto's most iconic viewpoints, known for its steep cliffside perspective over the plains below.